Hello guys, welcome back to V3 Design and welcome to a continuation on our web development class. To our new subscribers that are just tuning in for the first time, thank you for clicking on this video. And to our old subscribers, thank you so much for tuning back in to continue this class. Today we'll be discussing the topic forms and tables in HTML. Forms and tables in HTML. Now, what are forms? Forms are like questionnaires that you fill to get out information. They are things you bring to people to fill to get out information out of them. They allow users to enter data on your web page, which can be useful for things like signing up for a newsletter or leaving a comment or whatsoever. Now, HTML provides various form elements such as text field, checkboxes, radio buttons, and submit buttons. There are different kinds of form. There are different types of form which we are going to be looking into in this video. A basic form structure makes use of the form tag, which you can see on the screen. The form tag. The form tag is an opening and closing tag. This is the form tag, as you can see right there. The form tag is used to indicate that this is a form that we want to open, right? Then the action attribute, which you can see there, specifies where the form data will be sent when submitted, and the method attribute indicates the HTTP method, that is the method used to send the data, right? Please note, of course we'll be practicalizing all this, but please note of these terms I'll be making use of. The form tag indicates that this is a form. Then the action indicates where the form will be sent when submitted, as it's coming to you who has the web page. And then the method is used to send the data to you having the web page, sending it from your user to you having the web page, right? Okay. Now we have different input overviews. We have different ways that your users can input answers to your form. We have the text field. We all know what a text field is. Like when you go into your keyboard, your phone keyboard, then you want to, okay, good, let's use a very good example. Your WhatsApp. You want to send your friend a message, and then you go into your keyboard and then type. Now that is an example of a text field. Then we have a password field, which is used for filling in passwords. We have email fields used for filling in of email addresses. Now this is the code for putting in a text field. This is the code for putting, that's label for input type placeholder. And a label tag provides the label for the input field. This label tag you are seeing right here, it provides a label for the input field, thereby improving accessibility. The ID you can see here, this ID, which is equals to name, the ID attribute labels, it shows the label with the input field, and then the name specifies the field name. So each of them are actually, this ID you can see here, this ID is more like if you want to style this particular form field, you make use of this ID. That's what this ID is used for. When we go into CSS, we are going to discuss more on what ID is used for, but for just a basic knowledge, the ID is used to identify that you want to style this form field. Then the name specifies the name of the field we're entering. Going on, we also have buttons, adding buttons to forms. The buttons allow users to submit forms. So after filling a form, everybody always needs a button which submits the form they have filled. And to create that, we make use of the button tag. Also, the button tag is an opening and closing tag. You can create buttons either using the button tag or the input tag with type is equals to submit. So you have two ways of creating a button. It's either you make use of the button tag or you make use of the input tag. Then going forward, we also have the checkboxes and radio buttons. Mind you, we are going to particularize all this. I'm just trying to give you an intro to what we are going to do on our VS Code. So we also have the checkboxes. Now these are all types of forms that we all see from day to day. There are types of forms we all see. We have the text input, the text area, the check boxes, radio boxes, as you can see already here. They are all different types of forms that we all see. We pascalize it. Now, checkboxes allow users to select multiple options. You know, when they ask you what country are you from, let's say you're filling a form and they ask you what country are you from, you see something, a drop down menu showing you different countries, so you choose the one you actually want. Now, that is a form called that is a form called a checkbox, which help you select multiple options. Then we also have a radio buttons, which also help you do the same thing. Going forward, okay, now let's practicalize. Let's practicalize what we have been saying since. Let's practicalize. Now let's go back to our VSC. Let's go back to our VSC. I already created the template. So all you have to do, this is the code we've been using since our first class. This is the code we've been using since our first class. If you've been following us from our first class, you should have this on your VSC already, everything you're seeing here. Now let's continue from where we stopped. Now I already created the template. Let me just come paste it here. Now this is the template, which I'll be explaining as we go further. The first thing you can see here, now mind you, this is put after your video. You know, we created a video before in our last class. Now just give some space and then copy this into your code. The first thing you are seeing is the H1 tag. This H1 tag is used to identify or to tell your user that this is a comprehensive form that you can see right here, a comprehensive form. Then the next thing you see is the form. Now this first thing you are seeing is the opening tag of the form, the form opening tag. Now without this form tag, the HTML file won't know that we are trying to create a form. Without this form tag, the HTML file won't know that we're trying to create a form. So the first thing you have to do is to open the form tag. Now in the form tag, we have action, which means to submit. Like I said before, when I was going through the slide, this action is to submit the form after we've filled in the form. Then we have the method, which means to post. Method is more like, how do you want the form you have filled, the information you have filled on your form, to get to the owner of the website. That's what the method actually means. So we just put post there. Now the first type of form we have is the text input form, which is this, the text input form. This code here you are seeing here is the whole complete code. This code you are seeing here is the complete code to create a text input form. It's the code you create to put a text input into your website. And the first thing you can see here is the label. This label is just like you telling the code that, okay, this code for this form is for the name, as you can see here. Now this is your name, which is going to show there. And this B arrow you are seeing here is break. Now guys, take note, B arrow, once you type on your VSC, B arrow means break. More like just the way you do enter to give space. Now you can't just do, even if you do enter like this on your VSC, if you should go into your browser, like if you should control save this and then go into your browser, it won't be spaced the way it is showing here. It won't be spaced because your VSC does not understand this tapping, this enter. It doesn't understand. If you want to create space like this, you have to put break. That is when it will create a space between this you are seeing here and this. That is just a rule for coding. So if you want to create space, if you want to create a space in your web page, you have to always put break. Now as you can see, this B area you are seeing here separates this text input code from this email input code. Now if I don't put break, it will be joining together. I will show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. Let me just remove this one. Let me remove that. Control save. And then let's go to our live browser and see what it's showing. Mind you, text input and email input. Okay. So let's go there. Now, good. As you can So let's particularize this. Let's control save. Let's control save and see what really happens. Control save and go to your port, dispose the first one and go live. Good. As you can see, okay, I actually did not. Let me go back to my code and remove this first break, and let's view that again. Now, as you can see, looking at your browser, now look at it. We have name here and we have email here. There is no spacing between name and email because we did not put break, which is the b arrow, the break tag. But if you look at it, between email and message, there is a space in between, which is this space you are seeing here. There's a space in between these two because there's a break tag in between your email and message. That is this on our code. Now, between email, which is this, email, there's a break tag, which is this. Between this, our other text, whatever. So you always have to put a break tag to separate your code on your browser. All right, you always have to put break tag. Now, as you can see from our browser, okay, let's control save that. Let me just use the browser to be explaining as I go forward. Good. Now, comprehensive form. This comprehensive form was formed making use of this h1 tag that you can see here. Then thereafter we have the form tag, which encompasses all the forms, which is this, from here down to the ending. Everything here, the whole form tag, right? These all are forms. Now, the first form we have is the text input. Now, let me just make it easier for you guys. Let me write an h1 tag, having to differentiate them so you won't get confused. Let's just say text input. Let's say number 1. Let's just say 1. Let's just say 1 text input. Let's control save that and go back to our live browser. Good. As you can see now, number 1 text input. Good. Now, this name you can see here is your first type of form, which is a text input form. Is a text input form, and the way you do that is making use of those code. Now, the first thing you see on those code is your label tag, which is this label tag, opening label tag and closing label tag. Then we see a bracket. Now, this name you are seeing here is the name we wrote there. Look at it here. It's the name you wrote here, which is this. Going back now to put now the next thing we are seeing, this whole code you are seeing here, this input tag, which is a self-closing tag, is what displays on your browser like this, which is having your name. Enter your name. This enter your name you are seeing here is a placeholder. This is it. So I'm to change it now. I'll be like enter your name very well. Let's change it very well. Right? Let's control save and then let's go back. Let's go back. You see it now? It's showing enter your name very well. Enter your name very well. So this is a placeholder. If I have to type here now, it automatically disappears. You see? This is a placeholder. So whenever you see something like this, it is called a placeholder. And the way you use a placeholder is to put in your placeholder in this input. This input signifies that this whole thing you are seeing, this whole rectangular box you are seeing here is the input for your form. In there you put the type, which is text. This type tells the HTML that this is, if the person wants to input, what the person should input should be a text though, as you can see. If you look at for email now, type is email, as you can see. Type for text input is text. Type for email form is type email. Type for text area, as you can see, though it is not written as type here, but you put in text area. Then for radio buttons, as you can see, type for radio buttons is radio. Hope we are following. Type for checkbox is checkbox. So I'm just trying to make it easier for you guys to understand. Type for submit buttons is submit. So just have that at the back of your mind whenever you're having the input, which is that rectangular, this rectangular thing you are seeing here, that encompasses your placeholder. You should always make sure to write that your type should be carrying what you want it to display. Now going further, this ID you are seeing here is for CSS styling. It's for CSS styling. Although it's good to put it here, we're going to make use of it here. When we get to CSS, we'll discuss more on styling. Then for the name, it's also used to name this form. Then placeholder, like I discussed earlier, is to put in what you want this grayish thing to be showing. Enter your name. This grayish thing you are seeing here is placeholder. This thing you are seeing here is your placeholder. This thing you are seeing here is your placeholder. Whereby you tell your user to enter their name, and then when they press on it, it just disappears, and then they're able to fill in whatever they want to fill. All right. Okay. Now that is for text input. This is the code for text input. Going on to the next. Now let's name this number 2. Let's create an h1 tag. Right. Let's call it. Let me just copy this. It will be easier for me to type and put it here. Okay, good. Now let's call it number 2, and we'll call it email input. Email input. Control save. Okay. Oh, it did the wrong thing. Okay. Let's control save, and then let's go back to it. There we have it. Number 2 is email input. This is your email that you can see here. This is your email. Now, in order to create an email form, you make use of this code that you can see right here. It is same thing as your text input form, but the only difference between these two is that you tag it as email, which is showing here, which is this. Good. And then you change the type that you had here from text to email. Instead of you putting text, you put in email here. Then change your ID from name to email. Change name from name you are seeing here to email, and placeholder. Instead of writing enter your name very well, instead write enter your email. It's that simple. There are similar ways of creating them, as you can see on our ports, as you can see on our browser. They are the same thing. All right. So going forward, let's type in text area here. Let's do the same thing, h1, and then let's just control this, and then we just write text area, control save. That should be showing us that, so I don't want you guys to get confused. Good. Now I should have changed number 3. Okay, this is number 1 text input, number 2 text email input, and number 3 should be text area. Let's change that to 3. Let's change that to 3. Good, we've changed that to 3. So we have number one text input, number 2 email input, and number 3 text area, which is this. As you can see now, this is your text area. As you can see, this is your text area where you can write a lot of message. You can write a lot of things. Now this is mostly used, this text area is mostly used in different websites for description. You know, when you want to open, probably, or whether when you have an Instagram account and then they ask you bio, there will be showing bio. Let's just use that now. Let's even use that. Instead of saying, let's say it's showing message, let's put bio, bio. Control save. Let's put bio. Most times when you see bio or message or whatsoever, it is a text area that usually makes use of that in different websites. Now you can see bio, they will be like, enter your bio. This means that you can enter a lot of things, a lot of messages. But for your text input, which is this, you cannot enter a lot of things. You can only enter just few things like your name, your hobby, or whatsoever. But for text area, you can put in a whole lot of things, as you can see here. You can put a whole lot of things. So that's basically it for text area. Going on to the next, which is number 4, radio buttons. Now radio buttons is let me just write this, control paste first of all. Okay, mind you, let me create an H1 tag to show the radio buttons. Okay, let's make this number 4, right? And then we'll say radio buttons. Let's control save, and then let's view it on our browser. Good. Number 4, radio buttons. This from here to here is our radio button. Now most times when you go into a particular web page, or rather a website, and then you see they give you options like this, whereby you can click either this one, or you click this one, or you click this one. They ask you, what is your gender? You can say I'm a female, for example, or if you're a male, you can click male. Now this particular form you are seeing is called a radio button form, and this is how you create a radio button form. This. Now the first thing you see in the radio button form is basically the same thing that we've been discussing. The same way you create your text input, your email input, your text area. It's the same thing. First of all, you make use of your label, right? You label. First of all, label it, open label to show what that thing is showing, is saying. Is it gender? Good. You're having your gender. Then the next thing is your input, right? Your input, which shows this is a radio button. ID is male, name gender, and value is male. So they are basically the same things. This label you are seeing here, gender, you are seeing here, is this. Let me show you. Is this. Good. Then the next thing, this input you are seeing here, is this. This input showing male. This input you are seeing showing male. Then the next one, this label for male. This label for male is the male you are seeing that they wrote here, male. Understood? Same applies to your female and same applies to others. And then the reason why when you tap this, it actually clicks, or rather it actually chooses that, is because you made use of this thing you are seeing here, value. This value means that whenever the person taps on this, you are seeing on either male or female or other, it actually clicks and stays there and chooses that particular option that you have clicked on. That is what this value does, this code value does. All right, so that's how far that goes. Going on to the next, we have checkboxes. Now let's name this, let's create an H1 tag to call it checkbox. This is form 5, right? Let's call it checkboxes. Control save. Going on to the pod, let's check what we just changed. We changed that to checkboxes. Now this is a checkbox form. From here to here is a checkbox form. Note that a radio button has this 0, thing, but a checkbox has a box, a rectangular shaped box You can check things you want, and you can check more than two things. As you can see, look at it. You can check more than one. For a radio button, you can only choose one option. It's either you choose male, or you choose female, or you choose other. But if for a checkbox, you can choose multiple options. You can either choose you can choose everything on the checkbox, or you can choose just one. You can choose one, you can choose two, you can choose three. But for a radio button, you can choose just one option. So please note the difference. Now, to create a checkbox form, this is the code we make use of to create a checkbox form. This is the code. It's also similar to the other ones we've been talking about. First of all, you have your label which shows that which indicates what that particular form is for, which is this hobbies, as you can see. That's the first thing. Then the other one showing is showing the hobby that you want them to see. This checkbox, this input now, is this rectangular box you are seeing here. This box you are seeing here. This box you are seeing here. This rectangular box you are seeing on this checkbox was created making use of that input. Then this reading is also created making use of label. This is the code label to show reading. Then for this label, we created, now first of all, look at it this way. Let me separate this for you guys not to get confused. Now, first of all, we create an input, which is that rectangular like looking box. Then we tag it, we label it to be showing reading, which is this showing reading. This you are seeing here that I'm clicking on, this was done using the input. Then this was done using the label. All right, hope you have noted the difference. So we first of all create an input, which is input, and we make sure the type is called checkbox. That's what brings that thing. If we had put radio here, that thing will be showing circle. And let me show you an example. Let's just put radio here instead of checkbox. So you see what I'm trying to say? Radio. Let's control save. And let's go back. Let's go back to our port. You see what I'm saying? Because we put type radio, is now showing a circle. Are you seeing it? It's showing a circle instead of a checkbox. You see what I'm saying? So always make sure to specify what you want. If you want a checkbox, if your type, put in a checkbox. If you want radio for your type, put in a radio. All right, so we're going to change this back to checkbox. Hope we are all following. We have changed it back to checkbox. Change this back to checkbox, and then it should go back to the way to now. As you can see now, it has gone back to checkbox. You can see now. Same thing applies for traveling and gaming. Same thing applies to the both of them. First of all, you put in your input, which creates the checkbox. Then you put in your label, which shows what that checkbox is for. All right. Then let's check. Going on to the next type of form, which is form number 6. Right? Which is form number 6. Form number 6. This is our drop down menu. Now we always see drop down menu, right? Mostly on when they ask us to choose. Probably if you are trying to register in a particular website, they will ask you what country are you from and thereabouts. So it's popularly used in such scenario. Let's check that. Now, form number 6 is drop down. From here to here is the drop down, right? This highlighted space I'm showing to you is the drop down menu. As you can see, you see country. This drop down menu is mostly used for when they're asking you what country are you from, and sometimes when you have a website that shows you you have home and services, of which that services now have a drop down menu showing different kinds of services. So if you want to display different things that you want people to choose from, as plenty as it is, you always make use of a drop. So whenever you want to make use of a drop down menu, you always either make use of it either to ask them to choose between different options, as plenty as you want it to be. And to create a drop down menu, we make use of those code that you can see right here, this code. Now the first thing on those code now is your label, which is similar to what we'll be discussing all around. This label is to tell you that, okay, this is country. Let me show you the here, which is this is a label. Label is used for label, like the name sounds, label, to label what this form is all about. Now this label is showing country. You can change whatever you want it to be. It can be country, it can be type of food you want, anything you want it to be, you can change it. Then thereafter we have, now the difference now is that between drop down menu is that we don't make use of input, right? We make use of select and options. Select and options, which is this. Now this select helps your user to select a particular option. This select helps your user to select a particular option. Now this select, as you can see, is a tag, an opening and a closing tag, which carries all your options that you want them to do. All right. Now, if you don't put in this select tag you are seeing here, this select tag, and just go ahead to start putting your option, it would not work. So you have to first of all put your select tag, which then carries all the options, so that when your user presses anything, goes there and presses Canada, it changes to Canada, like you can see here. As you can see here, right? It changes to Canada, like you can see here. Then if person changes to Australia, it actually chooses Australia, as you can see here. So mind you, always make use of your select to enable your user choose what they want to actually choose, and then it's actually click there. Then option is used to give them different options. As you can see, we have option tag opening, option tag closing, whereby in between the opening and closing tag we have United States, we have Canada, we have United Kingdom, and we have Australia, which are different options. Then this value you are seeing here, this value tells your HTML file that, okay, this, I've given this person the option to choose United States, so yeah, select this value. Are you seeing it? And also this value is also used in our CSS for styling. So as we go further, we would definitely go in depth into that. But for the now, just know that this value is also used for styling, as well as telling the HTML file that you have selected on this option. All right. So this option you are seeing here, this option you are seeing, code you are seeing here, is what is displaying here, which is this: United States, Canada, United Kingdom, and Australia. All right. Hope we've gotten that concept, to understand that. And the last form we are going to discuss for today, right? The last form we'll discuss for today is the seventh form. The seventh form, which is the buttons. Whereby we have different kinds of buttons. On YouTube, we have subscribe button. On Instagram, we have follow button. We have different kinds of button. If you fill a form, we have the submit button, right? We have the submit button. So let's go and view it on our web browser. There we have it, our last form, the button. So like you can see here, we have I created two kinds of button. We have the submit button and we have the reset button and the submit button. See, it's not working. I clicked on it and it's not working because there's no link to it. Now, how do we create a button? We create a button making use of this code, which is as simple as ABCD. First thing you need to create a button is the input tag, which is a self-closing tag, right? Hope you have noted that all input tags are not opening and closing. No, they are all self-closing tags. Whereby you just have opening tag, which is this opening bracket, input inside, and then closing bracket, of which the input now has different other elements, which is the type element and the value element. You can have different kind of elements, as you have been seeing since. You are seeing, yeah, there is ID element inside of the input we're having the type element here, we're having the ID element here, we're having the name element here. So we can have different kind of elements inside of the input element. Please note that. So for creating a button, we just make use of just two elements on our input tag, which is the type element and the value element. Now this type element, like I said before, tells the HTML that this form is a submit form. So please create a submit button like it has done here. This is a submit button, as you can see here. Then also, I created two buttons, as you can see. I created the submit button here, and I created the reset button here. Then this value, like I said before, when I told you here, actually tells the HTML to select this button and then to submit whatever you have done on that website. Although right now it's not functioning because we also need other elements to make this work, to make this button work. But this is just the basic thing you need to know to create a button. Just make use of you only make use of one tag, which is the input tag, that has two elements, which are the type element and the value element. If you press this now, tap on it now, submit, it's showing it's not working. Why? Because there is no link for us to actually submit the form. If you type the reset as well, it's showing the same thing. There's no link for you to submit the form. There's no link. So that's all for today on HTML forms. That's all for today on HTML forms. Going on to what is on our slide, we've dealt on forms. Then we are going to dealt on tables, structuring data with tables. Now, what do we use tables for? Tables are used to organize data into rows and columns. To create a table, we make use of the table tag. We make use of what? The table tag, which is T arrow. T arrow for rows and TD for data cells. Now, looking at the right hand side of the screen, you can see the code we use to create a table tag. You see here we have the opening table tag. Then we have the T arrow, which is table row. We have three table row tags, as you can see here, and then we have the closing table tag, as you can see there. Now, creating a basic table structure, you create the table T arrow, TH for header, TH for header 2, as you can see, then TD for data. So that's just basically everything you need. Then also for styling, we make use of the border, cell padding, cell spacing, and about. We particularize this. Alright, let's go to our code and particularize everything I just said. Let's go to our code, our VSE code, and particularize. As you can see, I am building on everything I have taught. So I am not going to cancel. I'm just going to continue building on it. Let's just give some space between the two of them and then continue. Let me just give a H1 and just call it tables. Let's save that. Now I had already created the templates for creating tables. First of all, you have to make the table have a style. Control copy. Now you see this code right here. This code I just copied, right? This code is the code for giving the table a style. Now this is me slightly going into CSS. This is me going to CSS. But I just want to understand, like, if you want to design an HTML file, you make use of CSS, right? Like I said before, CSS is what adds beauty, or is like the skin to a web page. Now, if you want to put in CSS into an HTML file, now this is an HTML file. This everything we are doing here is an HTML file. This whole thing you are seeing here is an HTML file. Normally, we are supposed to create another file here and name it CSS, right? But we are not yet dealing on CSS. So in order for us to see make use of CSS attributes inside of our HTML, we make use of the style tag, which I just showed you guys here. We make use of the style tag, which we put in our head. guys. So in order for us to put in this same style, as you can see here, in order for us to style anything on our web page, and we don't want to create a separate CSS folder, we can actually do that by putting that this style thing you are seeing here, this style tag you are seeing here, into the head of our HTML file, which is here, right? So we're going to copy and paste that here. Now let's just give space here. Remind you, this is inside of our head tag. Don't put it on your body. Don't put it any other place. Put it inside of your head tag. Now let's control and paste there. Do the same for your own. Now this is us styling it. Now I recap. A style tag is used to give your page styles without having to create a separate or a different CSS file. All right, now this is your style tag. Now we've done that, we created a style. Then let's copy the code and put there. Now this is the code for creating a basic table. Okay, I'm trying to copy this. Control copy. Now where do we put this? Mind you, you put the style in the head, then the code of the table you put it on the body. You put the style on the head, and then you put the code of your table on the body. Right now I'm putting it here after the table. Let's control paste here. Let's control save. Let's view it, so I can be showing you as I'm explaining what I am doing. Wow, do you see what I'm seeing here? Can you see how beautiful our table has come out to be? Nice. Now I will explain to you how we achieve this beautiful table. Going back to our code. Now, first of all, the reason why that thing came out very nice, why the table has such nice structure, is because of this style that we did here. This style you are seeing here. Okay, good. Let me go back to the code. Now, the first thing to create a table is, first of all, making use of the table tag. This is the opening table tag, and this is the closing table tag. After that, thereafter, we have the T head that you can see right there. The T head, which is, let me show you which is this. Let me just show you. Let me go back to my browser and show you what it means. Which is this guy here. No, which is this, showing the name, the age, and the occupation. This whole section, which the occupation, the age, and the name, was created making use of this head tag you are seeing right here. All right, as you can see, name, age, occupation. Name, age, occupation. Coming back here, look at it. Name, age, occupation. So this T head is used to show the head of your table, what you want to display as the head of your table. All right, then after the head tag T head, we have the T arrow. As you can see right here, we have the T arrow. Now the T arrow is this. Let me show you. Going back to the browser, going back to your browser, you have the T arrow. T arrow means table rows, which is from here, this row here. The row having John, Jane Smith, and Sam Brown. The row having 28, 34, and 45. Now that's what T row means. T row means showing the row, table row. T row means table row. TD you are seeing here, you are seeing TD here. TD itself means table depth. All right. So as you can see, we have here TD, T arrow. The T arrow is the table row, and the TD is the table depth, right? And TH is for table height. All right, please note that the T arrow is to show the row of the table. Now let's go back to our browser. If you please note now, first of all, the first let me go back to the first T arrow, which is this. Let me just separate it for you guys to understand what I'm trying to say. The first T arrow tag, that is the first table row tag, carries John Doe, right? It carries the age 25, and it carries occupation engineer, as you can see. Just the way here is showing. We have the name. What's the person's name? John Doe. What's the person's age? 28. What is the occupation of this John Doe? Engineer. That is what is displayed here, as you can see. John Doe, right? Age 28, occupation engineer. Same applies to Jane Smith. Same applies to Sam Brown rather. So this whole T arrow answers the question of this code you are seeing here. Now, at the beginning, the T head, right? If please note as well, after opening your table tag, right, the first thing you see there is your table head, which is T head. Is your T head, which kind of like ask the questions, the name of everybody you want to show on the table, the age of everybody you want to show on the table, and the occupation of everybody you want to show on the table. Then for the body, the T body, which is this, then answers the questions to this your th. Now the first T arrow will then answer, okay, this first person will have name, they will have this age, and would have this occupation. The second T arrow table will then say the same thing. This person would have, so if I'm to include more, let's just copy and paste this, and let's just do it like that. T arrow, right? Copy and paste. It will be quicker to become a table having just 3 persons details. It will now have 4. Now let's just see that. Are you seeing it now? It's now showing 1, 2, 3, 4. You are seeing, because we have copied and we have copied the T arrow tag. So this T arrow tag encompasses, just like I said before, the T head carries T arrow to ask you the questions of what you want your table to be showing. Then your T body carries the T arrow to answer those questions, or rather to carry the details of the answers to those questions. All right. Now going back to the style that we did before. Now mind this, we have table, right? Table. We have table, th and td. We have th and td, and then we have th. Now let me tell you how we got this. Now this first thing you are seeing here, table, was gotten from this where we wrote here on our code. Table. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? So in order for us to style this table, we have to now go into our style and give it a name, style. Thereafter, we have this opening showing the width, that we wanted the table to have a width of 50% and a border collapse, as you can see there. Then we also said that, okay, now going back again to our code, we have here, we have td, which is this td. Are you seeing it? That's all the td we are having here, all this td we are having here. Then the th as well, and the T arrow, that they all, look at it, table T, and it should have a border of 1 pixel, and they should be black. That is why if you come to our browser, they are black. If I change the color now to something else, let's change the color to something else. Let's say color. Let's say color red instead. ROED. Now let's control save and see what it will show. Now just what it will change from black to red. You see? You see? The table now is now showing red because we have changed it from black to red. Alright. Now going on, we have TH and TD. This T we want it to have a padding of 10 pixels and a text aligned to the left. Meaning that, let me go back to our browser. A padding means the distance between here and here, right? And then that's for the padding. And then for the text align, we said we wanted it to be left, meaning that everything will be to the left. Let's say we put center, for example. Let's change to center and see what will happen. Center, control save. Everything will then be aligned to the center. Since we've changed the center, everything now will now be showing center and no more left. All our information will be showing center and no more left, because we said that we wanted our text align to be center. As you can see, and you can see it, right? They are all center. If we also say we should put it to the right, same thing will happen. Everything will go back, we go to the right hand side. That is what your text align is used for. Is to align your text either to the left, the right, or the center. Then this is for background color. Now here we're having a code of F2. F2 means white. That's what it basically means. Just a code. It means white. Let's say we want to have a background color of yellow, for example. Let's change to yellow. Control save. Let's go back to our browser and see what it is showing. It will show that we are having yellow background. You see? It's showing yellow. Are you seeing it? So these are just how to style. You can do a whole lot. You can do a whole lot with this style that you are seeing here. You can play along. You can play with it as much as you want. So please do go back to do more research on how to play more on this. I always say, go anything we teach on our class, go back to make research on them to understand them better. In case you're having any questions, please drop them on the comment section. In case you are confused anywhere, please drop them on the comment section. I'll make sure to address them in my next video. So that is as far as creating a form goes. As you can see, this is whether a table goes. As you can see, that is the code to create a table, which is this. Is making use of a table tag and making use of a style. So that's basically all I think we are doing in today's class. Let's go back to our slide and see what we have next. Now we are done attribute. I just discussed this not quite long. Cell padding, text alignment, they are all parts of table attributes for styling. Now, by understanding these HTML elements, you'll be able to create well-structured, interactive, and visually appealing web pages. Remember, like I always say, right, practice is key to mastering HTML, and rather to mastering anything in this life. The more you practice, the better you become. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this video to the end. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. I hope to see you in the next one, and please do practice everything we've learned. Practice.